Greetings and welcome to today's message. Before we get started, can you please kindly subscribe, like, and share, and click the notification so you can get the latest update? And we have 4 venues on the YouTube channel for spiritual food for your spiritual growth. The first one is Subject of the Week that comes on Fridays at 7 a.m. Then we have our weekly devotion that comes on Saturdays at 7 a.m., and that's book by book. And we're currently in the book of Ruth. And then we have the weekly sermons on Sunday that comes on 7 a.m. And then we have the roundtable of the word. We have one coming up very soon. So click the notification to see the latest update. And then we have a quick announcement. Help us impact people's lives and empower the family and make a big difference in the community of all those kids. And you can visit our website at aimcommunityglobalchurch.com to see the latest update. Help us reach our goal financially. All love gifts and donation are tax deductible. We thank you for supporting the mission outreach, and we thank you for supporting this channel. Now, we are in the weekly devotion, and we're currently in the book of Ruth, chapter 3, verse 3 through 9. And I'm going to read out a New Living Translation. And the title of today's message is Respect the Culture. Respect the Culture. Verse 3. Now, do as I tell you, take a bath and put on perfume and dress in your nicest clothes. Then go to the threshing floor, but don't let Boaz see you until he has finished eating and drinking. Verse 4. Be sure to notice where he lies down, then go uncover his feet and lie down there, and he will tell you what to do. Verse 5. I will do everything you say, Ruth replied. Verse 6. And she went down to the threshing floor that night and followed the instructions of her mother-in-law. 7. And Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirit. He lay down at the far end of the pile of grain, and he went to sleep. Then Ruth came quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. 8. Around midnight, Boaz suddenly woke up and turned over, and he was surprised to find a woman lying at his feet. Last verse, 9. Who are you? He asked. I am your servant Ruth, she replied, and spread thy corner of your covering over me, for you are my family redeemer. Now, Naomi's advice seems strange when giving that instruction to his daughter-in-law, but she was not suggesting a seductive act. In reality, Naomi was telling Ruth that the act was in accordance with the Israelites' customs and law. By uncovering Boaz's feet and lying down under his covering, Ruth was informing Boaz that he could be her family redeemer, that could find someone to marry her or marry her himself. At first, it was a family business, nothing romantic. But the story quickly turned beautiful romance. When Boaz realized what Ruth was suggesting, he was overcoming, knowing that she could have chosen someone else, someone richer or younger, and not follow Israelites' custom. Now, from the start, they developed an unselfish love and a deep respect for each other. Now, in verse 5, it talks about as a foreigner, Ruth may have thought that Naomi's advice was odd. But Ruth followed the advice because she knew Naomi was kind, trustworthy, and filled with integrity. Each of us was a parent, older friends, or relatives who is always looking out of our best interests. Be willing to listen to the advice to those who are older and wiser than you are. The experience and the knowledge of such people can be invaluable. Now, in verse 6, why was Ruth so willing to follow Naomi's instruction? She knew that she could trust Naomi, and she also knew how godly and kind Boaz was from the first day she met him. But she had witnessed his love for the Lord. Listen to that, saying that's key. His obedience to God's law, his kindness, his respect toward women, his empathy for the poor, and his generosity. So there are some of the characteristics that matters most when considering a relationship, whether seeking a spouse or a mentor or a best friend. Now, here's one of the points that I want to talk about. Custom of culture. If you're used to your culture, let's say, for example, in America, and you go to a culture in Europe or Asia or the islands Pacific or Australia or South America, the culture will differ because that's their culture upbringing. And whatever Naomi background and culture, it was different from Ruth because Ruth was the daughter-in-law and came from the Moabites. And so when she trusted Naomi to give those instructions to approach Boaz, guess what? That culture seemed to be odd in the eyes of Ruth, but Ruth was obedient and listened to her mother-in-law and she obeyed. Here's the next point. Trust the parents. Sometimes you might say it doesn't make sense. Sometimes you might say it seems odd. Sometimes you might say, is that necessary? But being the parents, and they're a lot older than the kids, they know better. Even though she was a daughter-in-law, was treating her like her own daughter, actually. And so the trust of the parents was key, and Ruth was in obedience to her mother-in-law, Naomi. So she trusts the parents. So for us, in reality, when we're upbringing and raised from our parents, they know better, even though in this society, in this age, there's a lot of disrespect of parents from their young kids in this generation because of what they was exposed to and what social media can do in today's age. But the key here is to trust in the Lord despite of how it may look, whether it's traditional or old school, they're your parents. Here's the next point. The witness of his love for the Lord. When Ruth began to see the love of Boaz to the Lord, she observed that just as much as Ruth observed the love of Naomi to the Lord as well. So she was experiencing the God's love in such a way that I want to be a part of this family. I want to do and obey my mother-in-law. And that's what took place. So she encountered the witness of the love of God in her life. And the last point is obey instruction. Anytime when the Lord gives you something, you obey him, you obey her, and when you do, then the blessing comes afterwards. As we go further and unveil the study in the book of Ruth, it's a beautiful story. As we go into it and you stay tuned on it week by week, you will see a big difference. Here's the final thought. The culture that you're used to, and if you go to another foreign country, the culture is different. We can't have the mindset of our culture that we've been raised and go to another culture and expect the same results. In reality, it's a different culture. It might seem odd and strange, but in reality, we just respect the culture for what it is and for us to understand it and to relate to it and be flexible with that. And when you do, then you will see the culture and how you can respect others and respect culture and see a difference in your life. But the bottom line is respect the culture. Saints, if you are blessed in today's message, please kindly subscribe, like, and share, and click the notification button to get the latest update. And don't forget to visit our website at aimcommunityglobalchurch.com. See the latest. Help us send those blessing of love gifts so it can impact the people's lives in the seven continent and especially in Zambia, Africa. We thank you and supporting this channel, and we thank you for staying tuned to this mission. God bless you all.